Welcome to LexAI, your AI-powered partner in mastering the law. We combine artificial intelligence, legal analysis, and jurisprudential insight to make complex legal doctrines clear, visual, and easy to understand. All right, today we're diving into Rule 80 of the Rules of Court and introduces a really crucial role, the special administrator. So what is that? Well, just think of this person as the court's temporary guardian, a kind of caretaker for an estate. When legal battles or other delays put everything on hold, they're the ones who step in to protect all the assets from being lost or wasted. So, here's how we're going to break it down. We're going to follow the entire life cycle of this role across 5 key parts. First, we'll look at their core purpose, why they even exist. Then, we'll get into how they're appointed, what they can and can't do, which is super important, how their job ends, and then we'll wrap it all up with a nice summary to make sure it all sticks. Okay, let's jump right in. First up, the temporary estate guardian. Let's really get to the core of why this position is so necessary in the first place. And here's the bottom line, the number one reason, preservation. That's it. A special administrator exists for one main purpose. See, when you've got legal fights or other problems holding up the appointment of a regular, permanent executor, well, someone's got to mind the store, right? They're there to make absolutely sure the estate's assets don't get wasted, lost, or just plain mismanaged in the meantime. Okay, so that raises a big question. When does the court actually decide to bring someone in? And that leads us perfectly into our second section, appointment. When and why. We're about to look at the specific situations that give the court the green light to use this power. And you might be wondering, why the need for a temporary fix in the first place? It's a totally fair question. The short answer, the legal process for wills and estates, well, it can get messy, really complicated. And that's exactly where all these delays come from. Yeah, and the reasons for appointing one are almost always, well, let's just say contentious. We're talking about some serious stuff here, like a pending appeal questioning if the will is even valid. Or maybe there are just heated arguments over who should be the regular administrator. You get the picture. Any of these legal hurdles can cause major delays, and in all these cases, the court needs a neutral party to step in and protect the assets. Now, this next point is really important. It all comes down to judicial discretion. See, the court may appoint a special administrator. It's not automatic. It's not a mandatory thing. The judge has to look at the whole situation and decide, okay, is there a real risk here? Is the estate in danger of being wasted or lost? Only then will they make that temporary appointment. So let's make this real with a classic bar exam question. Imagine this. You've got Pedro. The person who passed away actually named him in the will to be the executor. That's the testator's choice. But then, there's a will contest. So the court steps in and appoints Maria as a special administrator to protect everything. The question is, who prevails right now? And the answer is, well, it's crystal clear. The court's appointment of Maria is totally valid. Why? Because the law's number one priority is preserving the estate. That trumps everything else. So, when there's a delay, like a legal challenge, the court's power to bring in a temporary caretaker will always override who was named in the will, at least until the whole mess gets sorted out. Okay, so they're appointed. Now what? What can a special administrator actually do? This brings us to Section 3, and this is a big one. Powers, preserver, not distributor. Let's break down exactly what they're allowed to do and, just as important, what they're not allowed to do. Their job description is pretty straightforward, really. It follows a logical flow. Step 1, they take possession of all the estate's properties. They gather everything up. Step 2, their main mission is to preserve and protect all that stuff. And Step 3, they can actually start or continue lawsuits for the estate, anything needed to protect its interests. And this chart, it lays out the boundaries of their power perfectly. On the one hand, here's what they can do. Take possession, file suits, that kind of thing. They can even sell perishable goods, things that might spoil. But, and this is a big but, only with a court order. Now look at what they can't do. They absolutely cannot start paying off the deceased's debts. And they can't start distributing the estate to the heirs. Their role is to be a guardian, a preserver, not a distributor. Okay, here's another classic trap you might see on an exam. Let's say a special administrator decides to sell a piece of real estate, which is obviously not perishable, and they do it without getting the court's okay first. Is that sale valid? What do you think? The answer is a big, fat no. The sale is totally void. It's as if it never happened.
Rule 80, Section 2 is super clear on this. To sell property, especially something permanent like real estate, you need explicit permission from the court. If they act without that order, they've overstepped their authority, plain and simple, and the sale is worthless.
All right, every temporary job has to come to an end, right? So in our fourth section, we're going to look at just that, cessation and smooth transition. In other words, how does this whole temporary guardianship wrap up? This timeline here shows the whole process from start to finish. It starts with a delay, a dispute, which triggers the appointment of the special administrator. Then, once all those legal issues are finally sorted out and a regular administrator is appointed, poof! The special administrator's powers are gone. Their very last job is to hand over everything, all the assets, all the records, to the new person in charge. But what about those loose ends? Remember those lawsuits they might have started? What happens to them? Does the case just get dismissed once the regular administrator takes over? Is all that work for nothing? No way. The law is much smarter than that. It's all about efficiency and continuity. The case doesn't get dismissed at all. Instead, the court just does a simple substitution. The new regular administrator steps into the shoes of the special administrator, and the lawsuit just keeps on going without missing a beat. All right, we've gone from beginning to end, the whole life cycle. So now it's time to pull it all together. In our final section, we're going to do a quick summary of the most important takeaways from Rule 80. And this table right here is a fantastic way to see the whole rule in one shot. Just look at the key points. Purpose? Temporary preservation. Appointment? Discretionary. Authority? Very limited. When do their powers end? The second a regular administrator is appointed. It's all about that smooth transition. This is a perfect slide to screenshot for a quick review later. And for anyone studying for the bar, these 5 points are pure gold. Seriously, lock these in. Number 1, their job is preservation, not distribution. 2, you absolutely need a court order for sales and payments. 3, the appointment is discretionary, it's not a right. 4, lawsuits don't stop, they just get a new player substituted in. And number 5, and this is crucial, this only applies before a regular administrator is officially appointed. So, what does this all boil down to? In summary, this topic teaches us that the special administrator is really the law's essential safeguard. They're that temporary guardian who makes sure an estate can weather the storm of any legal fights, keeping it whole until its permanent future can be decided. So when you think about it, the special administrator is so much more than just some legal role on paper. They are a crucial stopgap. They step into a really uncertain time to protect a family's legacy. Their whole job is to make sure that when all the dust finally settles, the estate is still there, intact for the people who are supposed to inherit it. It really makes you think, what other legal roles act as a similar kind of safeguard? It's a great question that really gets to the heart of the law's focus on protection and order.